Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or The Notorious Fantasy, and today I am bringing you guys a video where I talk about the running back rankings for 2020. Now, this video is going to be based off of PPR and half PPR type of rankings. If you want to know some stuff about standard, leave some comments down below, and I can obviously answer your question where I think these guys will be placed in standard in comparison to PPR, but I assume most people actually play in PPR or half PPR, so that's what this is more based off of. Now, before I get into the video, I'd like to ask you guys, could please click that subscribe button down below, because not only is it going to help me, it's also going to help you guys win your fantasy football championship this year. We are going to take them W's home like our name was famous Jameis Winston. So let's get right in the video. Fantasy football 2020 running back rankings. Now we are going to start at 10 and count all the way down to number 1. So you're going to want to stay for the whole video, or you could just fucking fast forward, do whatever floats your boat. So at number 10, we got Leonard Fournette, running back of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, to me, Leonard Fournette had a great season this year. Running back number 7 in fantasy football in 2019, 259.4 PPR points in 2019, 17.3 PPR points per game in 15 games. He had 3 total tutties, 39th amongst running backs, 1,152 rushing yards, 6th amongst running backs, 76 receptions on 100 targets, and 522 receiving yards. So overall, a amazing season, over 1,600 combined yards. Okay, the one thing that Leonard Fournette was really missing for his game was the fact that he was not actually scoring any fucking touchdowns. Scoring 3 total touchdowns as a running back immediately hurts Leonard Fournette's stock. Now, Leonard Fournette is one of those type of guys who is just a baller out there on the field. He caught 76 receptions on 100 targets. Leonard Fournette, before this year, was not really known for being much of a pass-catching type of back, a guy who's going to be catching the ball a bunch. But I think in the future, Leonard Fournette is going to be one of those guys that does catch the ball a lot. Now, in his past, he has some problems staying on the field. He gets hurt. He does some bad things off the field, which is why I was hindered off of him. If you remember, a couple of years ago, he did not take team pictures, and they fucking said, get the hell out of here. They stopped letting him play for a game, got into a fight with the Bills team a couple of years ago. So that's obviously something you have to worry about. But at the end of the day, I think Leonard Fournette is going to be a guy that is very safe in fantasy football. I have him at number 10 because the guys ahead of him, I just like a lot more. But that does not mean that Leonard Fournette is not going to be a good running back. This Jacksonville Jaguars offense looked very okay last year. Leonard Fournette's still 8. I think that if Gardner Minshew is able to elevate this team even higher, maybe Nick Foles, I'm not sure who they're going to end up using at the quarterback position next year, but the offense could be a lot better, and I think, or the defense also could be a lot better. Just the Jaguars as a whole could be a lot better, but I think that Leonard Fournette will continue to be a baller. Sure, he may not catch the ball 76 times next year, but I think his touchdown number will go back to like the 8, 9, 10 ratio where most running backs should be. So I like Leonard Fournette next year, coming in at number 10. Next at number 9, we have Nicholas Chubb, coming off the Cleveland Browns. Now, Nicholas Chubb was running back number 8 in 2019. He had 255.2 PPR points, 16 PPR points per game in 16 games, 8 total tutties, 12th amongst running backs, 1,494 rushing yards, 2nd amongst running backs, 36 receptions on 49 targets, and 278 receiving yards. Now, Nick Chubb was pretty much the rushing title owner until Derrick Henry just eviscerated that later in the day, because they kind of just stopped using Mr. Nick Chubb in Week 17, which was kind of stupid. They screwed him over out of getting the rushing title. But with that said, Nick Chubb played amazing last year, and it seems like this new coach that they're bringing in here is going to be a very run-centric coach, and this is going to bode very well for Nicholas Chubb. Now, my only worry about this is if Baker Mayfield is passing better, if he's playing better, I am worried about the fact that they may not try to run the ball as much. They may want to try to keep Odell Beckham Jr. happy, so they may try to throw the ball a lot more his way. They may try to look Jarvis's way, two kind of guys who are kind of locker room guys that you don't necessarily love to have in your locker room. But at the end of the day, I think that Nick Chubb is going to be a great running back. Another thing to me that hinders him and not make him like a top 5 guy is just the fact that Kareem Hunt is likely going to be back. It seems like the Browns, unless Kareem Hunt goes and smokes some dope or does some fucking shit that you don't want to do if you're the running back of the Cleveland Browns, then he's going to be back there next year. I know he's not stealing a lot of Nick Chubb's carries, but sure, he could get in there on the goal line, might run it in. He can get there and vulture the touchdown in the pass-catching game. So this hurts Nick Chubb's passing game. So for that reason, I don't love him too much in PPR. I still think he'll be a top 10 option for sure in fantasy football, but I try to go in my top 10 guys who I know are going to be catching passes unless they get the ball about 1,000 gajillion times on the ground. Coming in here at number 8, we have Aaron Jones, Green Bay Packers running back. Now, this year, he finished running back number 2 in 2019, 314.8 PPR points, 19.7 PPR points per game in 16 games. He played every single game, 19 total touchdowns, first amongst running backs, 1,084 rushing yards, 11th amongst running backs, 49 receptions on 68 targets, 474 receiving yards. Now, there's a lot of things I have to say about Aaron Jones. The one great thing about him is those touchdowns. He seems to be a guy that when they're close, they're going to run it up with Aaron Jones because Matt LaFleur loves to run the ball. Now, my biggest worry here is with Jamal Williams. It seems like Jamal Williams will be back. Even if they got rid of Jamal Williams, they're going to bring in someone else. And Mr. Matt LaFleur, the coach of the Green Bay Packers, loves giving a running back split. It seems like it was 60-40, 50-50 some games even, with Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams. Aaron Jones clearly the better back. Jamal Williams is talented, but at the end of the day, they're not going to give the ball to Aaron Jones. He's not going to be a complete and utter workhorse. And if he does not find the end zone 19 times, which is very, very, very unlikely, I would be pretty disappointed with Aaron Jones. A lot of his points were coming from these touchdowns. Sure, he got over 1,000 rushing yards. Sure, he got nearly 500 receiving yards. But at the end of the day, I am a bit worried about this load management by the coach, Mr. Matt LaFleur. At the end of the day, Aaron Jones is going to be a great running back. He is going to be a guy that is picked in the first 2 rounds of your fantasy football draft. And you just have to decide if you like having a guy on the Packers who, in my opinion, their window to win is right now. I think last year they were a bit of a fraudulent 13-3, and I would not be surprised if they were kind of bad next year. So I don't love Aaron Jones here, but he is the number 8 ranked running back. Coming in at number 7, we have Alvin Kamara, New Orleans Saints running back. Now, he was a running back number 9 in 2019, which did not hit anywhere near where a lot of people paid for this guy. A lot of people paid for this guy to be a first couple of picks guy. He was a top 4 guy. Some people picked him at number 1. Shout out to Max the Animal. He picked him at number 1. Now, running back, number 9 on the year. Sure, that's not that bad when you drafted the guy number 3 overall. Sure, but he should have played so much better. 248.52 PPR points in 2019, 17.8 PPR points per game, was hurt a bunch, 14 games, 6 total touchdowns, 26th amongst running backs, 797 rushing yards, 22nd amongst running backs, 81 receptions on 97 targets, and 533 yards. Now, the one thing you have to know about Alvin Kamara is he is probably never going to hit 1,000 rushing yards. Unless he's already done it, I don't think there's any way he ever does it anywhere near that again. I think he'll be around the 700 rushing yards total yet again next season. What he really is, his bread and butter, is those receptions. 81 receptions on 97 targets, and that's why I like Alvin Kamara. My only worry here is what happens if Drew Brees does not come back. Does that hurt Alvin Kamara? It could. Another worry is the fact that Alvin Kamara seemed to be a bit banged up, and they seem to still use a second running back in that offense, whether it was Mark Ingram 2 years ago. This year, it was Latavius Murray. Who really knows what they're going to do? Alvin Kamara is a pass-catching back. He's not going to be a guy that's always on the field, so that's something you got to worry about. His talent is immense, though. He is a very fast running back. He's pretty much a receiver out there. He could line up as a wide receiver, and he'd smoke a fucking corner. But at the end of the day, Alvin Kamara is still going to be a great option for fantasy football, but I just don't think he is worth that top 4, top 5 pick again. I think he'll be a back half of the first-round selection in 2020. Coming in at number 6, we have Derrick Henry, running back of the Tennessee Titans. Now, Derrick Henry finishes running back number 5 in 2019, 294.6 PPR points, 19.6 PPR points per game in 15 games, 18 total tutties. 3rd amongst running backs, 1,539 rushing yards. 1st amongst running backs, 18 receptions on 24 targets, and 206 receiving yards. The biggest gripe with Derrick Henry is the receptions. 24 targets for a top 10 running back in PPR leagues is fucking terrible. Okay, guys? You want a running back because you want a guy that has safe floor. A guy that's going to catch the ball maybe 3 times a game. That's a free 3 points. Guys like James White, guys like any of these, pretty much every single guy in this first round is going to, or in these top 10 running backs are going to catch the ball a lot. And that's my biggest worry about Derrick Henry. Another big worry is this motherfucker gets the ball about a gazillion times every single game, and that really worries me. Will his tires run out? Will his legs run out on him? He played 15 games this season. Amazing. He only missed 1 game. He was the focal point of this offense in the playoffs. He is the reason why the Titans reached the AFC Championship and knocked the fuck out of Lamar Jackson. Now, I'm kind of thinking that the thing with Derrick Henry is also that kind of worries me, is he is one of those guys where he turns it on later in the season. At the beginning of the season, sure, Derrick Henry was fine. If you had him in your lineup, he was like a locked and loaded guy. You throw in your lineup, he'll do okay. But towards the end of the season is when he was accruing like 30 fucking points, going sicko mode, going absolutely crazy on the fucking field. Now, is that something you really want in a top guy? Some guy who doesn't really show up until the end of the season? Sure. If you can make the playoffs with him, that is amazing. But I know a lot of people did not make the playoffs with Derrick Henry because he was kind of a disappointment earlier in the season. The 19.6 PPR points per game does not really tell the whole tale of Derrick Henry's season. At the end of the day, this is going to be one of those guys that is going to be a certified league winner for you if he can stay healthy. That is really my biggest gripe besides the pass catching opportunities. Now we are on number 5, Mr. Joe Mixon of the Cincinnati Bengals. If you guys have enjoyed this video thus far, I would very much enjoy if you click that subscribe button down below and check out my sponsor, OverlayDFS.com, link down below in the description. Getting back here, number 5 is Joseph Mixon of the Cincinnati Bengals. Now last year, Joe Mixon was about as big of a disappointment as you can get. It's like you drafted him and he fucked you in the ass and he didn't even bother using lube. He got you real good. He bent you over. During the beginning of the season, he was awful. He was awful. He was a guy people I saw were cutting. That is how bad he was. Towards the end of the season, he turned it on. This year, the Cincinnati Bengals likely draft Joe Burrow at number 1, and this offense looks a lot better. Another thing to note for Mr. Joe Mixon, why I have him as a top 5 guy, even though he did not finish all that strong last year, is due to the fact that he is going to be getting a lot better of a line. A bunch of the members of that offensive line ended up getting hurt in the preseason. The guy they drafted in the first round last year ended up getting hurt before the season started. So next year, the line is going to be much better. They're going to have much better quarterback play, and likely AJ Green, in my opinion, will come back, so they have much better of a passing offense. Now, Joe Mixon finishes RB number 13 in 2019. At the beginning of the year, he might have been RB fucking 50. He was that bad. And towards the end of the season, he was playing phenomenal. 225.4 PPR points in 2019, 14.1 PPR points per game in 16 games. He played all 16 games, which to me is honestly amazing. Now, if you go back and you remember, Joe Mixon was banged up during a lot of these games earlier in the season. That's why he was playing bad. I was telling Joe Mixon, I was like saying, please God, Joe Mixon, please Fantasy Lords, let's sit this man down so that he could play better next week. And he ended up just playing hurt for multiple games. He had 14.1 PPR points per game, 8 total touchdowns, 12th amongst running backs, 1,138 rushing yards, 8th amongst running backs, 35 receptions on 45 targets, 287 receiving yards. That is also another problem with Joe Mixon. He's not a huge receiving back in fantasy football, which is something you obviously want to be. Is a huge bonus for these guys. Like I'm saying, Derrick Henry, that takes him down. But Joe Mixon is going to be seeing way more targets than Derrick Henry will ever see. So for that reason, Joe Mixon is slightly better. I think that Joe Mixon's team is a lot better next year. I think the Tennessee Titans may be slightly worse. They got really strong last year. I'm not sure. Or if they're going to play exactly the same, and Derrick Henry will finish as a top 10 guy. Sure, Joe Mixon is going to elevate his game. We've seen Joe Mixon with a good, even with the trash line play good. So how can he not do better with a better line and a better quarterback than Joe Burrow? I see no fucking reason why Joe Mixon cannot be a top 5 running back in 2020. Coming in at number 4 here, we have Dalvin Cook of the Minnesota Vikings. Now, Dalvin Cook might be my least favorite guy to draft out of these guys. He is going to be ranked very highly for me because of how he plays when he is in the game. EA Sports, it's in the game. But Dalvin Cook is one of those motherfuckers who just ends up getting hurt. He played 14 games this season. I'm pretty sure that's more games than he played in his first 2 seasons combined. He is an injury-prone type of back. He finishes RB number 6 in 2019. He might have been RB1 in 2019, honestly, if he did not get hurt. 292.4 PPR points in 2019, 20.9 PPR points per game in 14 games, 13 total touchdowns, 7th amongst running backs, 1,135 rushing yards, 9th amongst running backs, 53 receptions on 63 targets, 519 receiving yards. So he's a guy that's also going to be getting passes out of the backfield, which is very good for him. My only worry for Dalvin Cook is his health. It's that simple. The team is going to feed this motherfucker the rock. They know that Dalvin Cook is a beast. Dalvin Cook is a beast, and that is nothing against him. The injury problems are the only reason why I would be worried. I still think that Dalvin Cook will be a guy drafted. Likely, he may be a top 4 pick. It might go Christian McCaffrey, Saquon, Dalvin Cook, someone else. It may even go Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Ezekiel Elliott, something like that. That would not surprise me because of Dalvin Cook's talent. I am just worried about his injury proneness. Now, you cannot necessarily predict injury, but I typically stray away from a guy who has had injury problems in the past. Sure, it would have bit me in the ass last year because he played so amazing, but how was Dalvin Cook in your championship game? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think he played. Coming in at number 3, we have Ezekiel Elliott from the Dallas Cowboys. Running back, number 3, money man, Ezekiel Elliott. Ezekiel Elliott got the bag last season. They decided to pay that man. They said, fuck you, Dak. We ain't paying you yet. Oh, they didn't pay him yet. Maybe you're watching this video and he's been paid. If so, if you're watching this in a couple of months, it might be, right now I'm recording this February 11th. If you're watching this and it's some other time, then go ahead and check back on the channel. There might be another video that's more updated than this. Now, Ezekiel Elliott is a great running back. He finished as a top 3 running back in 2019, 311.7 PPR points, 19.5 PPR points per game. He played in all 16 games, 14 total touchdowns, 5th amongst running backs, 1,357 rushing yards, 4th amongst running backs, 54 receptions on 71 targets, 420 receiving yards. Very nice. Now, the thing with Ezekiel Elliott in the past, a big gripe with Ezekiel Elliott was, Ezekiel Elliott is not the best catching back. I don't know what voice that is. Oh boy. But Ezekiel Elliott was not a pass catching back. A lot of people were getting on him for not being a pass catching back. You know what he did? He decided to catch balls the last couple of years. He went from being a guy that wasn't really seeing too many passes to going up there. Now, another gripe with Ezekiel Elliott, and a personal gripe of mine, is the fact that this motherfucker is kind of crazy off the field, if I'm being honest with you. He does some shit that is warranting of a suspension sometimes. Now, just last season, he pulled some chick's titty out. What the fuck, Zeke? You can't be doing that. But if Zeke stays on the field, that's really the only thing that worries me, because Zeke's a fucking beast when he is on this field. All right, guys? The Cowboys are going to keep running the ball with him. They paid him a lot of money. He's going to continue to be a workhorse back and one of the best workhorse backs in the league. To me, there are some guys that are far ahead of Ezekiel Elliott, but Ezekiel Elliott is amazing. He is a guy that could potentially be the number 1 running back and the number 1 player in fantasy football in 2020. That Dallas offense has been looking good. That line is always amazing. The line is always something you count on, and Ezekiel Elliott runs hard behind those boys. Coming in at number 2, we have Saquon Barkley, New York Giants running back, another NFC East player. Now, running back number 10 in 2019. Now, I know you might be thinking, Nick, running back 10 fucking sucks. How is he your number 2 running back? Nick, I don't know. I don't watch football. I didn't realize that he only played 13 games. I'm a fucking idiot. You know, that's what you might be saying now. He was running back 10 in 2019. I know. 244.1 PPR points. He only played 13 games. 18.8 PPR points in 2019. Now, this Giants offense was so fucking bad in 2019. That offense looked like a JV football team. That offense was terrible, guys, okay? And the defense doesn't help them. But at the end of the day, their offense can't get much worse than it was last year. Daniel Jones will get decently better, in my opinion. I think that Saquon Barkley is still one of those guys who you could pick with the number 1 overall pick in fantasy football. He is fucking amazing. Saquon Barkley is going to be a world beater. You saw how fast he is. You see his hurdles. You see his trucks. You see his jukes. He's a fucking amazing running back. 8 total touchdowns in 2019, playing only 13 games, and that's still 12th amongst running backs, over 1,000 rushing yards, 15th amongst running backs, 52 receptions on 73 targets, 438 receiving yards. His bread and butter is that pass-catching offense. He's probably the best receiver on the New York Giants at the current moment. I love Saquon Barkley in 2020, and I see no reason why you would not like him as well. Coming in at number 1 is obviously, run CMC Christian fucking McCaffrey of the Carolina Panthers. Now, the Carolina Panthers team last year was a fucking wasteland. Kyle Allen, who the fuck is that guy playing quarterback? Cam Newton gets hurt. Their team is their receiver, DJ Moore. No one really loved that guy. He's amazing. It's just unreal. This fucking offense was so bad. Like, they had such bad players on it. I wouldn't call DJ Moore a bad player, but the quarterback wasn't good, and Christian McCaffrey and DJ Moore still absolutely fucking ate. This offense can't get worse. They shipped out my boy Riverboat Ron, and they decided to pick up a new coach. Now, will this new coach fucking give the ball to Christian McCaffrey? That one might be what you're thinking. You might be thinking, oh, Nick, maybe they've got a new offensive coordinator. They've got a new coach. They've got this. They got that. Will they give the ball to Christian McCaffrey? Of fucking course, they will give the ball to Christian McCaffrey. If you don't give the ball to the best player on the field, to the best player, likely one of the best players in the fucking NFL, you are fucking so stupid. It is unreal. Christian McCaffrey was the #1 running back in 2019. 471.2 PPR points, almost 30 points per game, 29.4 PPR points per game. Now, we had one game where he was below 10 points. If he just hit 10 points in that game, he would have had 30 points per game. This dude is fucking unreal. He gets the ball a gazillion times a game, a zillion times, 20 bajillion times. This motherfucker touches the ball on every single play. He is a beast. He's the focal point of that offense. He is the best, one of the best running backs I've ever seen touch the ball. He is an amazing pass catcher. 116 receptions on 141 targets. Some wide receivers do not see 141 fucking targets in an NFL season. Over 1,000 receiving yards. You know what he did in the rushing game? 1,387 rushing yards, third amongst running backs. You know what he did? He scored 19 fucking touchdowns. He's up there with Aaron Jones. Christian McCaffrey is an unreal talent. If you do not believe Christian McCaffrey is the #1 running back in 2020, I would like to have what you are smoking. You are certifiably fucking crazy if you do not think that Christian McCaffrey is the best running back in fantasy football. He's the best running back in the NFL. I believe Christian McCaffrey puts up over 400 points again. 471 might be a little too high. That may be a little crazy. But even if he has some regression, he is still going to absolutely bumfuck every other running back that is even near him. He had like so many more points other than the second guy below him. It was unreal. He is a GOAT. Christian McCaffrey is goated. White chocolate Christian McCaffrey. I fucking love you, baby. #1 running back. #1 in my heart. #1 fantasy football 2020 pick. Thank you guys all for watching this video. If at any point you ended up chuckling, if at any point you ended up enjoying this fucking video, click that subscribe button down below. You know, guys, as always, if you're not new here, you know that I always tell you guys that I love you, and I really do appreciate that you come back every single day and come out and watch a video that I make. Please make sure to tell your loved ones that you love them, because any day could be your last. Make sure to check out my videos from yesterday, the mock draft. Check out a video from the fucking future that's going to be coming out tomorrow. Dynasty video with my boy Lucas. I love you all. Have a blessed rest of your day. Click that fucking subscribe button. You know you want to.